Yo, what's good? It's your guy, BeatsByJBlack. I'm rocking with Adam Audio. Welcome to my studio. I started getting into music after I left my career as a dancer. I had a friend who I used to hang out with, Sean, and he put me onto his other friend who would make beats on the keyboard. And he would have chords on one side and he'd have drums on the other. And it was so cool because he would play this live. And I was like, yo, man, that's so tight. I got in some trouble, had to move to Virginia. And when I moved to Virginia, things were a lot stricter. I couldn't really go out to parties. And, I couldn't really do too much. Music was all I had, so it was kind of one of those things I didn't force. It wasn't like I was forced, but that was the only thing that they didn't take away was my keyboard. I still never thought I was gonna be where I am today with music with it, because it was just something that's all I had. Shout out to my guy, Marcus Dose. This dude literally set up my BeatsByJBlack. He's the one who, everything, password, everything, set that thing up. And that was kind of a push for me to be like, man, somebody's doing this for me. I guess I better keep doing this. And just always with that brainwash, if you're not really gonna make too much money in the industry, I'm not thinking that this is something I'm setting up for myself in the future. All right, man, it's your guy, and I'm gonna take you through a breakdown on how I prepare for an Instagram video or just my promotion videos at all. The first thing I like to do is define some juicy type of loop, sample. There's always people who are like, play your own original loops and own original samples. That's cool. And I can do that, and I have done that. I'm all about creative process. So if there's somebody who's better than you that already made a dope melody, dope sample, whatever, there's no need to waste the time. It's all about making great music. So the first thing I do is I find a dope sound, right? And I think this was the one. So what I did with that is I broke that down into pieces, spread those throughout the pads. I got a chop mode on here, and I'll chop it mostly in the 4/4. Bass line, leads, little melody, and the synth, of course. Got the Vox. The way I typically keep my drums, I think everybody knows my secret. Pad 1, always have my kick drum there. Snares on pad 2, and usually I like to keep my hi-hats on pad 3. If you are a right-handed person, it kind of makes more sense because the hi-hats with your right hand, it's a little bit easier to get fancy with it, get tricky with it, hit those rolls, right? So that's my pad setup on the drum side of it. Like I said, on pad B, I have my melodies, and C, I have this extra little fill-in that I chopped. It's like a synth. Before, what I used to do is I used to take a loop and just play drums straight over it, but with that, it just limits the creativity. So every single chop that I get, I do like to chop it, even if it's in the 4/4 or if it's just chopping it just based on just the sounds that I'm inspired by with that loop. When you're a drummer, you're like a fiddly person. Like I have really bad ADHD, so I'm always like on it. Shouldn't have even had coffee, but I couldn't really actually produce fully. I mean, I have, but it's harder for me to sit here and just mouse click and just rearrange tracks. Like I have to physically get in that element. And I feel like for me and a lot of other people who were that kid in class and they're always doing this and they're always beating their leg and just naturally doing stuff like that, if you're naturally that person, finger drumming is so easy for you because like the things that you're hearing in your head, I feel like you can just easily like break down and kind of attach mostly to it. Once you figure out a workflow and once you set your pad arrangement, which feels comfortable to you and you just know where everything is, it's just a zone out moment. I don't like to really have too much of a set process. Like if I get inspired by like a sample, I'll probably go after the sample first, but sometimes I've been really big into bass lines lately. So I've been trying to create my own bass lines first and then layer something over top of it. I'm blessed and fortunate to work with a lot of companies that have sound packs and different loop systems, and I have an arsenal of samples. So I just really keep it different every day. If you think I'm going this way, I'm going this way. So it's like one day you think I'm chopping the sample to make my beats, like, oh, that's how he does it. And then one day I'm gonna just do drums first. So it's really what hits on us. I like having a more of a upbeat BPM just so I can hang on to it rather than a slower one. Just preference on that one right there. So I got that on the 8-bar, got that looping. Usually I would do it a little bit more on sync, just keep going next to next, but I want to show you the breakdown. So I'm gonna add that bass line. Go for that. Other monitors that I had, they would tell me that my music sounds good. You know, listening to it, it's like, oh, it sounds good until you get to the car. But these A77Xs, they will tell you, like, they'll hiss at you, they will tell you straight up, like, nah, this ain't it. Like, I remember when I first got them, it was so funny. I played like one of my mixes, and I was like, I don't know if these sound that good. I don't know what's going on, right? So then I went to Spotify, and I played a song, and I was like, wow, this song sounds good. Like, why doesn't it sound like that for me? So then I went back to my session, and I played it. And I was like, it's still doing this hissing thing. Like, what's going on? So that told me, okay, something with me and my file. Something with me and my mix going on. After, you know, getting down to the mix and adjusting the levels, I just did like a compare and contrast. I got it down right. After I got it down right, took that mix, put it in the car, put it in headphones, and that mix was even all the way through. And that's why I'm saying it's a cheat code, because I really haven't had to dive into too many crazy plugins or crazy limiters to keep everything good. It would just tell you straight up, like, oh, this is what it's gonna sound like at the end. This is what you want, this is what you don't want. I love that about them. Nah, it's been the best thing. I'm fully invested. Like I'm atomed up.